Good evening, everyone. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can we have roll call, please?
Supervisor McGlasson?
Here.
Councilwoman Campbell?
Present.
Councilman Tempori?
Here.
Councilman Ruthven? Not here. Councilman Boyd?
Present.
Present.
Thank you. Our first item on the agenda is a building department is the code changes. So I invite Bill Walters, our building department chair, to come up here and talk to us about these changes that need to be done. And is yours marked?
Good evening. Bill Walters, Building Inspector for the Town of Kent. Thank you, Madam Supervisor and Town Board members. Tonight, presenting to you Chapter 27, which is for the building code, building department, on how we're structured, basically what it comes out. There's really, I say there's a lot of changes, the way the state's doing it. We adopted the state model code back in 2009. Actually, the town has been dealing with the state code since like 1960. Actually, 1980 is when they went to the Green Book. So we've been dealing with the state code, making sure we get the audits and everything else in, and not a whole lot of changes since then. The last couple of years, the state's restructured, and they've made quite a few changes, not just in the model code, but in all of their codes that they're dealing with buildings, fire inspections, property maintenance codes, and stuff like that. A lot of that are results from fatalities in Rockland County and stuff like that. So the state's really coming down and changing a lot of the things. But as far as we're concerned, our Model 27 code for the building department, the new changes that are coming in effect deal with, we've added a few chapters that we didn't have there before, like parking garage. We don't have a parking garage at all in the whole town. But in the new code, the state addresses parking garages. Eventually, there's probably a good chance, and eventually we might have a parking garage. So I included that in this update. It also looks at the parking garages and how they have to be inspected and all the other. Again, we don't have any, but eventually we might. So we need to address that now. One of the bigger changes, and one of the things that's going to help us out a whole lot, is on one of the changes. It's a clarification. There's a lot of definitions that have been added, a lot of terminology that's been added. Not a lot, but some terminology has been added that we didn't have in our code since 2009. One of the clarifications is the construction, the exemptions to have a building permit. And what it reads now is construction and installation of a one-story detached structure associated with a 1-2-family dwelling or a multiple single-family dwelling, meaning townhouses, which are used for tools, storage sheds, playhouse, or similar uses, provide a gross floor area that does not exceed 144 square feet. For an example, 12 by 12. That same clause was in the previous code, but it wasn't defined. It was defined as playhouses, and sheds aren't playhouses. You look around town, there's a few houses do have sheds that look like playhouses, and if they were under the 144 square feet, they didn't need a permit. But your regular tool sheds don't fall into a playhouse. This is better defined. So what it means is that we won't have to issue permits for those small sheds anymore, which we did a lot. We've done a lot in the last few years. People are selling houses, and we find a lot of these old structures with sheds and stuff, and we got to get permits for them, and they hold up sales and everything else. So now that this new code is defined, we won't have to, as long as they're small, we won't have to issue permits for them. So that's one good thing. I mean, we issued a lot of them in the last couple of years. The 188 we did last year, which just in sheds. So there's the other thing that they talk about, and one of the things I clarified, the installation of swimming pools associated with 1 and 2 family dwellings and multiple single-family dwellings is that any water that's deeper than 24 inches needs permits. And we're seeing a lot of that in the last few years. We're seeing a lot of people putting pools in, and then not everybody comes to get a permit for them. So those pools, when we find them, we write them up, and they may not have the alarms that they need that are supposed to be with those pools. So those things we're trying to get a better hold of. So those are some of the things that are in this new code. The other things that were in the old code that are in here, still the 3-foot retaining walls, that's still there. I mean, there's a lot of things here that aren't changed. You still don't need a permit for painting and wallpapering and tiling and carpeting and similar finish work. That stuff you don't need permits for. There's some repairs. You know, a repair doesn't need a permit. It depends on how much of a repair you get. If we call it a renovation, that's not a repair. You know, you take a problem with a sink, you take the sink out, replace it, that's a repair. You take the whole kitchen out because you don't like the way it looks and change all the cabinets. It's no longer a repair. It's called a renovation. New homeowners moving into the area, a lot of them think that when they buy the house, well, I'm going to repair my kitchen, and they remodel the entire kitchen. It's not a repair anymore. You need permits for that, because generally when you open up walls and stuff, you find out things are wrong. Studs are rotted away, things are broken down, and you have to make those repairs to get that. So. Permit fees in the state code, again, a lot of the state model code, we have fees that are addressed in our chapters already, so there's no change there.
I have a question about that.
Sure.
Our fees, we don't put them in the town code, so we don't have to change the code.
Correct.
Every time. But are there new fee requirements triggered that we have to add?
No,
Okay.
there's no new fees triggered at all. One of the big changes that I put in for is chapter 2714 for septic, cesspool, and well permits. That chapter 14 I would like to remove from the current, it's currently in our current code. I want to take it out. All of those permits for years have been done by the Board of Health. The fee for septic and cesspool are $5 and $10. I don't inspect them. I don't look at the paperwork for any of them. It's all approved by the Board of Health. When I go to issue a CO, I wait for the paperwork to come from the Board of Health. I see no reason, and I haven't collected a fee for any of that stuff in the 10 years that I've been here. I think it's time that we take that chapter out of it. Leave that number there for reserve in case something comes up. We can put it in there if we need to. But that chapter for septic, cesspool, and well permits, I would like to remove. The process for certifying for occupancy, there's no real changes there. You guys have all, I sent you PDFs on all of the, on the procedures here. And they were highlighted in blue. I know when it went out to the public, it was all black and white, so they didn't get to see what the actual blue highlighted changes are. And you can see where those changes are.
It wasn't highlighted on the website?
Nope, it's all black and white. That's what I just heard also, so I didn't see the blue. But that's basically it. There was a new clause that we had to come up with for climate and geographic design criteria that was not in our old code. The state's been pushing that for at least the last 5 years, and in this new code change, they came up with it. So with that being established in the new code, architects will be able to go to it and pull that information up automatically, because it's already wrote out. Instead of contacting your office, getting the information all the time, it's already there, okay, because they can look it up. And again, conditions on how to, for assessing parking garages. Again, we don't have any, but the procedures are all there. There's also some changes coming up with the fire and property maintenance codes, and they're not in here yet. I concentrated just on chapter 27, that's chapter 38. When I get done with this, then we'll look at what those changes are, and there's really not a whole lot, but they just need to be identified for the fire prevention. That's it. Any questions? Okay.
Yeah,
Any-
when it comes to wells and septics, obviously, I know a little bit about that. And you're right, there's just redundancy. The county oversees that.
Right.
They decide where wells are drilled and.
Yep. If somebody building a brand-new house, they got to go through Board of Health approvals for the well and septic and all of that. They're the ones who approve the plans, and when the house is built and they're ready for a CO, they go back out, they do all the re-inspections and everything else. They have nothing to do with it. All I do is collect the paperwork.
Correct.
That's all I do.
Little housekeeping. Perfect.
Yeah. So, well, I got you, that's all I have on the resolution for that. I've got some statistics and stuff. I think you guys have seen our annual report, hopefully, and I want to talk a little bit about that. Take a few minutes, but basically, our annual report, we did 394 building permits this year, which is 8 less than last year. We did 242 COs, 171 C and Cs of compliance certificates for 413 inspections. I did 867. Again, it's just my office. That's not Bill Looney's office. It's not the fire inspector, and it's not the vacant building inspector. Complaints, I handled 138 complaints, and that was a total of 226 total complaints, which is 30 more than last year. That would be everybody. Municipal searches, which is one of the things my clerk does the most, the 238 municipal searches, and they can take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes up to an hour to do those and process those letters so they can go out. FOIL requests. We get a lot of them from the clerk's office and emails. 360 FOIL requests that we've gotten. And we've documented all of them and handed them back to the clerk. And they can be everything from looking at surveys to building files and sending that information out. And it all takes time. There's only 2 of us in the office. And I will say my clerk does most of them. She's very good at that. As far as inspections, the vacant building CEO, Jack here, he inspected 226 inspections last year on vacant buildings. And with ProChamp, we brought in $45,000, $392 on that program. Fire inspector did 152 fire inspections. Code enforcement officer, Bill Looney, did 191 inspections. Just those 3 offices totaled up to 424 inspections that they've done. Cash in, $303,916. That's $83,000 more than last year. The value of work that's been done in the area, and we always say, there's no construction, there's no work going on because of COVID. Well, this year's figure is $20,705,325. That's the value of work that's been done in and around this town. Now, we've only done 9 new homes and 43 additions this year. There's a lot of money that's coming in as far as construction, and those construction costs have gone up because of COVID also. Materials, you guys in the construction field know that they're all expensive now. And people are waiting on doors, a long time waiting on doors and windows for projects. So that's where we stand so far. Again, we need to update a lot of people are moving in and they don't think they need permits for anything because this is their kingdom. They just bought and paid for. They're coming out of the city where they rented. They don't know that they need permits for everything. But they need permits for almost everything. Welcome to the state of New York. If it's bigger than a birdhouse, you're going to need a permit for it. Pools, again, if they're deeper than 24 inches, you need a permit. And in those cases, they need fences around them. And they need pool alarms. So, interior renovations, even though everybody said, well, it's not structural. Even if they're structural or non-structural, renovations need permits. Illegal apartments, we've been dealing with. The other thing we need to come to the board with in the near future, we need to address the issue with Airbnbs. We need to address that because we're getting hammered in the department. How long is a short-term rental? They're looking for a number. All right, and it's been an issue. When we find them, we write them up and we get them to stop doing it because Airbnbs, according to our zoning code, are illegal. Airbnbs or what's the other one, Vermo? Verbo.
Yeah, Verbo.
They're not allowed according to our zoning code. You need a permit for ductless HVAC. Everybody considers ductless HVACs like a window air conditioning unit. It's not. You need a permit from an electrician. It has high-pressure gases in it and everything else. You need a permit for those. And now you can go to Tractor Supply and you can buy Mr. Cool and you can put it in yourself, but you still need permits. And according to Putnam County Consumer Affairs, homeowners are not allowed to do their own electrical, they're not allowed to do propane gas, and they're not allowed to do HVACs. You need permits for all of that stuff. So that's where we stand with as far as permits and the updates on this year. And you guys have already seen the annual report. So if there's any questions, please give us a call back and we'll gladly help you understand what we did. Anything else?
Any public comment or questions?
On the windows, is that considered, I know years ago you had to CO with
Yep,
windows?
still, yeah. Yeah, and the reason we're requiring permits for even replacement windows is because 2 years ago, the window specs changed from 32 to 29. So there are still a lot of old windows that are out there, so we're still requiring permits to make sure. Home Depot, Lowe's, Sears, they're doing a lot of the permits, and they're handing out the newer windows. So it's not but a lot of this comes down to the energy code. Right now, currently, we're with the 2020 building codes. From what I understand, the new building codes are going to change in 2024, and we will probably upgrade to the 2024 model code then. But right now, New York State's staying with the 2020 model code, so there's no big changes there. One of the things that we are going to see in the near future, some places down in Westchester have already been gone to the stretch code, which is a lot more energy requirements, a lot more insulation in the house. Instead of you having R49 in the attic, you're going to have a R62. So your bat insulation is going to be going away because you're going to have to do spray insulation to get your R values up. Your walls are going to go up from R19, R21. They're going to go to R30s. So you're going to have to go spray insulations coming down the road. Houses are going to get a lot tighter. There's a lot more requirements for new construction on homes than what there ever was before. But you can heat them now with a match. So, any other questions?
All right, we're going to set the public hearing for our next board meeting. Is there enough time if we set it for? Let's see what date it is.
This is not zoning, right? So it doesn't need the 10 days?
So our next board meeting is March 7th.
I think so. It's a week.
Okay. Okay. someone want to read the
So, March 7th, you said?
March 7th?
As long as it's not St. Patty's Day, I don't care. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
All right, you're up. I think we leave it blank. Lana likes us to leave it blank until it gets passed.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt a resolution introducing a local law and providing for public notice and hearing. Be it resolved that amendment to the Kent Town Code, Chapter 27, entitled Building Administration and Construction, is hereby introduced by Councilman Tompori as introductory law of the year 2023 before the Town Board of the Town of Kent in the County of Putnam and the State of New York. Be it further resolved that copies of the aforesaid proposed amendment, which is attached hereto, be laid upon the desk of each member of the board, and be it further resolved that the Town Board will hold a public hearing on said proposed amendment at the Town Hall in the Town of Kent, New York, at 7:00 p.m. on March 7th, 2023, and be it further resolved that the town clerk publish or cause to be published a public notice in the official newspaper of the Town of Kent of said public hearing at least 5 days prior hereto. I make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 And I'd like to suggest that we get a copy with the blue ink on the website.
I thought I scanned it right from mine in color, so I don't know why it didn't go on there, but I will make sure that it's scanned again tomorrow and put up in color so you can see the changes. Okay, our next item on the agenda is the fireworks. We're gonna table that until the next meeting because they did not send me any of the information that they were supposed to send me, so we're gonna table that one. Oh, okay. No, they didn't send me anything. So come on up, you can be my information. Come stand by the microphone just so that people can hear you.
My name is Mike Illison. I was formerly with the other company that you've been using for years. I always dealt with Maureen. And they just been giving me a lot of problems with my customers. I have a lot of customers that I've been in the business for 40 years. So sometimes you gotta change and just, I'll get you a better show, I'll get you a better product. The same people are working with me, because they won't work for the other guys. It's just a lot of baloney going on. So I just want to let you know that we changed the company, and everything will be the same crew. Justin and Corey Burke, that from the neighborhood, they'll be there shooting. I want to, because if you're going to do it the weekend before, I think we spoke.
The board picks the date, but it's never on.
Yeah,
4th of July,
whatever
but-
day you guys pick, I haven't been here in a while because I do bigger shows, but like Corey would be here every year. I like to be here myself this year because we got a lot of new product coming in.
Okay,
And there's different stuff and,
okay. Do we want to pick a date for the fireworks, and then when everything comes in, we can
Authorize the
authorize,
expenditure?
yes. So why don't we pick a date now, and then when you get everything to me at the next meeting, we can approve it or whatever. And I'm gonna have to reach out to the other company and just see what they submit or whatever, and then we'll go
yeah,
from
yeah,
there.
whatever. Yeah.
But, okay, let's see, let's pull up a
The
calendar here.
4th is on a Tuesday, so
So
either
we
the
could
1st
either-
or the 8th is a Saturday.
Okay. What's everyone's vote, 1st to the 8th?
First.
Beforehand, preferably.
First?
Yeah.
Any opinions? No? All right, looks like July 1st.
July 1st, the 2nd would be the rain date?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. All right, and then can you have the company send me something?
Yeah, I thought they did send it, but it didn't go through, I guess.
No, I didn't send that.
No?
I wasn't sure exactly if you just wanted references or you just want, what exactly are you looking for, so I can, I'm sorry. I just wanted to know, what exactly are you looking for? Was it just references, or you just want like a synopsis of some shows that we've done, or?
I think all of that would be good in a proposed agreement.
Yes, yes. I think our budget is usually 10,000, and then
Yeah.
we hope to get more, but, we start at 10,000, so.
Insurance certificate.
And but wouldn't we get that after we signed everything? Or, if you could include the insurance certificate.
What I could do is I can include a certificate of, of evidence of insurance, because we don't have, the show yet. We can't actually get the certificate, but I can absolutely give you evidence of insurance.
Is that?
I'll make sure, that's fine, so.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Okay.
our insurance is 5 million.
Everything's exactly the same, but a different truck's gonna show up.
Okay.
The same people are gonna be there, and hopefully.
Much more product.
Yeah, and you don't have to give us a down payment. You know, like that guy said, I hear you chasing people down for down payments, you can pay me on the day of the show.
I don't think that was our problem.
Yeah, you know.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate you coming. So, you have my email address?
I don't know if I have your email.
We have an email, I give
Okay.
it to your brother.
Okay,
Oh, can you,
Give
Nancy will write it down for you.
please,
Just write it down.
thank you. Just to make sure that.
Right. All right, so then the next meeting, we'll do the contract and everything. Okay. All right, are we ready? Are we good?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. All right. So our, yes?
If something happens, like on it, coming up to that week, the second, and you wanna change the link date, as long as you let us know, notify us, like for the weekend after or whatever, that's fine, you know, just let us know in advance.
Okay.
I'll keep you in touch.
We usually have stuff going on the whole day that day, so we do like backyard Olympics and stuff, so that'll be good to have the rain date on Sunday. We should be good with one of those days.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
All right, our next item on the agenda is the portable bathrooms, the quotes for the porta potties. So, we reached out to several companies, United Rentals, who we have used in the past. We also reached out to Seek a Seat and Ajon. They did not respond, they did not submit, or no, I'm sorry, they did, and then Scotty's Potties and John to Go did not submit quotes. So we had the three quotes, and United Rental has the best value. So that is the company that I recommend that we use for the porta potties.
Need to put the quote on.
No. Any comments? You were happy with them? So, all right. Someone want to read the? You want to read it?
Sure. So, I know we're gonna start off with saying to make a resolution, and whereas, so it doesn't have a number in here, or
No,
we
no,
can
you
just
just
start
start
here.
there, yep.
Yep. So whereas there is a need to rent portable toilets for Park District Number 1, Lake Carmel, including beaches number 2, 3, 4, and 7, and the maintenance garage, and the Kent Recreation Department, including Edward Ryan Memorial Park and Custis Park. And whereas in accordance with the town's procurement policy, and the Lake Carmel Police Department clerk requested quotes from 4 companies and received these quotes in response, copies of which are annexed hereto and incorporated herein by reference. And whereas United Rentals of Fishkill, New York, has submitted the lowest quote, and whereas the Town Board of Kent wishes to accept the quote submitted by United Rentals for calendar year 2023. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Kent hereby approves the rental of porta-johns from United Rentals at the prices set forth on the quote annexed hereto for calendar year 2023. And the town supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to execute any and all agreements necessary to give effect to this resolution, consistent with the terms thereof, all in form satisfactory to the supervisor and the town attorney, if requested.
I make that motion.
I make that motion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Our next item is something from 2 weeks ago, Lake Carmel Community Center, the asbestos testing. We had two, they didn't send us both quotes, so we only had the one, so we did not authorize enough. So we need to just, the resolution's actually not correct with the amount. So we have to authorize up to $10,000, not the $7,000. We just didn't get the other, they forgot to attach the other quote. So that was part of it. They were supposed, there was 2 of them for the same amount. They were supposed to be combined. but they only sent us one of the quotes and not both. So when we called them and we said, you know, we've approved up to 7,000, and they said, well, 4,338 plus 4,338 is not 7,000. And, you know, we said, what are you talking about? And they said, oh, because we forgot to attach the second quote. For the second information for what they were doing with the sampling and stuff. It was just two separate amounts, and they wrote it all out, but they forgot to attach it.
It's two separate quotes.
No, it's,
But it's two separate things that they're doing.
yes, and they separated it, but they forgot to send us the other part that they were doing, so. So all I'm asking for tonight is that we authorize them up to $10,000 so that they can, I guess do we have to rescind?
Yeah, I mean, we can either do the additional amount in this one,
Mhm.
or rescind the last one and change it, and adopt this one for 10,000.
Okay, what's
It's easier probably just to do a second one for an additional,
3,000?
yeah.
Okay. All right. Can we read the resolution from here, or do we have to?
So how do we word it on the whereas? Because right now it says 1,440.
What's the amount? 3,000?
No, the amount on there is 1440, and what'd you say the difference was?
It's 3,000.
So it's 3,000.
So could we do, for specialized service, for an additional $3,000? Is that? Whereas there is a need for an asbestos inspection at the Town of Kent Community Center, and whereas Adelaide Environmental Health of Brewster, New York submitted a quote for this specialized service for an additional $3,000 over the last resolution that we approved?
Just for an additional $3,000 in addition to the $7,000 previously approved.
Okay. Now therefore be it resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Kent hereby accepts the quote for Adelaide Environmental Health for an asbestos inspection, and be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Kent hereby authorizes and directs the supervisor to execute any and all documents necessary to give effect to this resolution. I make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Alrighty. Next on our agenda, we have, Councilman Ruth and myself have been meeting with the dispatchers from the police department and for their negotiations for their contract, and we have finally come to an agreement, and I'm asking the board to approve tonight the final negotiations. I think everyone has had a chance to look it over and give their comments on it, so,
I can read this one if you want.
yep, please.
Okay, I make a motion to adopt a resolution to approve a memorandum of understanding with the United Federation of Police Officers Incorporated. Whereas the Town of Kent is party to a certain collective bargaining agreement, the CBA, between the town and the United Federation of Police Officers Incorporated, parenthesis, the dispatchers, for a term commencing on January 1st, 2019, really, and expiring on December 31st, 2022, and whereas the town and the dispatchers wish to amend the collective bargaining agreement in order to extend the CBA to December 31st, 2026, and make additional changes in salary and allowances as further detailed on the memorandum of agreement annexed hereto and incorporated herein by reference, parentheses, the MOA. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Kent hereby approves the MOA, and be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Kent authorizes the Town Supervisor to execute the attached MOA and any other documents necessary to give effect to this resolution in a form satisfactory to the Town Supervisor and the Town Attorney. And be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Kent hereby approves and ratifies all acts heretofore taken by the Town Board, Town Supervisor, and any and all town officials in connection with the subject agreement. I make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, next we have, I think last year we went out to bid for the Ryan Park driveway improvements, and then we rescinded all the bids. So now we're actually looking to go back out to advertise so we can finally do the Ryan Park's driveway improvements. So we have everything ready to go, so I'm just asking the town board to approve tonight so we can go out and we can advertise for bids for the project. Any comments? We've been here before. No? Okay. Does someone want to read it?
I make a motion to adopt a resolution authorizing the town clerk to advertise for Ryan Park Driveway Entrance Improvements Project. Whereas the town of Kent wishes to re-advertise for bids for Edward Ryan Memorial Park Driveway Entrance Improvements. And whereas the town board of the town of Kent wishes to authorize its town clerk, Yolanda D. Capelli, to advertise for bids for driveway improvements at Edward Ryan Memorial Park. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Kent hereby authorizes its town clerk, Yolanda D. Capelli, to advertise for bids for driveway improvements at Edward Ryan Memorial Park. I make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to add something to the agenda from our dog control officer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So we have been actually out of contract for a while with Carmel Animal Hospital, who takes the dogs and cats when Mary, our dog control officer, acquires them as a temporary shelter. And so we need to actually update our agreement, our contract with him. So Nancy, you looked over it, there really wasn't any big changes.
No.
And when, the town doesn't generally pay for anything, because when they take a dog and someone goes and picks up their dog, that person pays the fee. So it's still, I think, a reasonable fee. It's $46 to pick up the dog. So I just ask that we approve this tonight so that we can get the contract signed and, have a valid contract. Any questions?
Nope.
Someone read it? Okay, you can have mine.
Make a motion to adopt a resolution to contract with Carmel Animal Hospital for veterinary and temporary shelter services. Whereas the town desires to contract with a veterinarian to receive and provide veterinary treatment to dogs that are captured by the town as required by and in accordance with the Agriculture and Markets Law of the State of New York. And whereas the Carmel Animal Hospital has proposed to provide veterinary services at its standard rates, as well as temporary shelter, and will continue to do so for the sum of $46 per day during such treatment for dogs captured by the town's dog control officer or police department, parentheses, the proposal. And whereas the Carmel Animal Hospital has the necessary qualifications and experience to provide the services desired by the town, and now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby accepts the proposal of Carmel Animal Hospital to provide veterinary treatment and shelter to dogs captured by the town, and be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Kent hereby authorizes the supervisor to execute any and all documents necessary to give effect to this resolution. I hereby make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 I think, Ann, you have a couple things that you want to
Yeah,
add?
so I make a motion to add an item to the agenda pertaining to the Lake Carmel Dam.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So I'd like to give you an update. I know a lot of folks were here when we had the report from Schnabel Engineering and Insight on the condition of the Lake Carmel Dam. And since that time, we applied for additional funding from DEC to pay for the next phase, which would be engineering. We had also put in a congressional appropriation request last year, and as far as we know, we did not get that request funded. We haven't heard anything back. But in the process of applying for an additional $100,000 from DEC for the engineering costs, the engineers from Schnabel and Insight worked very hard to put together a detailed proposal. And what we've discovered is that it's going to cost over $1 million, namely about $1.3 million, to do the engineering for the repairs to the dam. So even if we get the $100K from DEC, that's certainly not going to be enough. It is time again for appropriations, and so we want to work at both the state and the federal level to get funding any way we can. And I just had an email today from Millennium Strategies, the town's grant firm, and they said that there's a request for proposal from the Senate, this is the U.S. Senate, for community project funding requests up to $4 million. Now, $4 million would not cover the full repair, but it would be a good start. It would be about half. So I make a motion to go ahead and authorize Millennium Strategies to apply for that opportunity.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any questions or discussion on that? Well, there are other opportunities, and we certainly want to speak to state senator, to our state assembly rep, and so forth, our congressional rep, whatever we can do to draw attention to this pressing concern. And any community involvement in notifying our legislators about our concerns is always welcome.
Which they can do on Saturday,
As a matter of fact,
because Senator Harkam will be here in Town Hall from 11 to 12 on this Saturday. I was going to say at announcements, but it sort of plays into this, so.
yes.
If anyone wants to come and have a little talk and tell them about the dam as well, residents are great to push the issue, so.
Yes, I've already been in
Good
touch
evening,
with his
Kathy.
office and provided some information, but community involvement is
I'll go
helpful.
run the store, you come here.
And then I also would like to make a motion to add an item to the agenda pertaining to climate action planning and climate smart certification.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So back in 2019, the town board voted to work towards New York State Climate Smart certification, and we've undertaken a number of projects and actions along the way. Our greenhouse gas inventories were presented a number of months ago here, and they are just being wrapped up. We're doing some final checking and calculations on those, and the next step is going to be what they call a climate action plan. Now, whether that gets done as part of a revision of our comprehensive plan overall, or whether it gets done as a separate document, is something we still have to discuss. But one of the first steps in this process is actually to have the town adopt a resolution saying that we're going to go ahead and do this. So I've joined with the Climate Smart Community Task Force, we've joined a planning cohort that's being run through the Hudson Regional Council. They're assisting municipalities in this process, and my first homework assignment basically is to bring this resolution to the town. So we will probably have that on the agenda at the next meeting if time permits, if our supervisor says it'll fit. So I'll be getting that information to you all in the future, but I just wanted to let you know that that's coming our way. Thanks.
Thank you. All right. I guess I'll be Chris tonight, and I'll read the vouchers. Okay. I ask the board to approve the following vouchers that are over the threshold for February 21st, 2023. Beacon Recycling, $4,009.56 for Lake Carmel Recycling. Carmel Central School District, $3,024 for gym rental. Chris's Automotive, $4,720.96 for a police vehicle repair. Custom Bandage, $4,974.40 for tires. Excel Printing, $2,485 for the senior exemption postcards. Global Montello Group, $7,964.26 for diesel. Goose Town Communications, $24,300 for the radio system. Cuba Sports, $8,807.20 for basketball and volleyball. Magna 5 MS, $4,860.18 network services. Metal Building Restoration, $101,379.23, requisition number 12 for the highway garage. Millennium Strategies, $3,000 for grant services. Morton Salt, $11,263.45 and $11,512.15 for road salt. Nicomco, $2,972 for the two-way radios for police. New York State Department of Civil Service, $258,037.27 for health insurance for February. Purchase Power, $3,000 for postage. Ring Squared, $3,458.18 for telephone services. Royal Carting, $4,118.86 for recycling garbage. Town of Kent PBA, $17,760 for the 2023 Welfare Fund. I ask the board to approve these vouchers.
Second. And
All
you
in-
read them so much better than Chris.
Thank you. Thank you. Make sure you tell him that when he comes
will.
back. All in favor?
Aye.
Then he's going to make her do it every time.
I know, tell him I did a terrible job, okay? All right. So, okay, announcement. So Senator Harkam, again, will be here on Saturday, February 25th, from 11 to 12. So come down to Town Hall and talk to the senator. Also, on Saturday, February 25th, starting at 9 a.m., it is the Carmel Rotary Club Basketball Challenge. You can contact 845-225-2122, or you can visit the website at carmelrotary.org and click on Challenge. So that's all I have.
Instead of a short one. Friday night, again, we have the Town of Kent Community Night at the Danbury Hat Tricks over on Independence Way at the Danbury Ice Arena. The game starts at 7:30. I spoke with Herm today. He's very happy with us. We have over 100 tickets sold in our section, which is really good. So anybody wants to go, as we said, they are giving us $6 off a ticket. So I don't know if he wants that out in the public, but too late. Sorry, Herm. But you can go on to hattricks.com, danburyhattricks.com. Buy tickets in section 100, and when you check out, use code KENT23, and that will get you the discounted tickets.
Great. I have a few from the library. One I'm very excited about. I mentioned last time that Michael Karopian, the sculptor who made the fabulous statue of Daniel Nimmin that you've seen in Fishkill, perhaps, has done a lot of research on Nimmin and the history, and he's going to be giving a talk on Wednesday, March 1st at the library at 6 p.m. It's called Revisiting Daniel Nimmin. So we hope that a lot of people will come and learn about that history and maybe also get involved in our fundraising efforts to bring a statue of Nimmin here to Kent. In addition, a couple of things at the library on March 8th at 5:30, Reservoirs of Putnam and Their Impact. And, you know, a lot of people may have heard about the way the area up near the Ashokan Reservoir was affected and the towns that were obliterated when the reservoir system came in. But we might not always recognize that here in Kent, there was a lot of change in our course of our history as a result of the reservoirs here in the town. So that should be a pretty interesting talk. That's going to be March 8th, 5:30 at the library. And then on the 18th, Saturday, 11 to 1, Joe Montori from Sustainable Putnam is doing a workshop on funding sustainable home energy improvements. So that may be of interest as well. And of course, the library always has an abundance of fascinating and useful programs, and I encourage you to check their website for other events. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone?
I suppose that when Peter Harkham's here, we can ask him to pave 52 from 311 up to the Duchess line, so.
But they just got that set.
We will thank him for what he's already given
Yes,
us, but we will
yes.
also encourage the rest of it to be paved.
Encourage him, yes.
Yes,
Maybe
Very
you
good.
should just drive him up there.
I know.
Hopefully his teeth won't fall out.
Yes, that's what I'll do.
I've seen that done in other municipalities. And by the time they go through a few potholes, they get motivated
I'll
to
make sure I
help.
hit every one. Okay, any public comment?
Sue Kotzer, Town of Kent. Is it a repaving or resurfacing? Exactly what is being done on Route 52?
I think they're resurfacing.
Just resurfacing,
Yes.
not even paving it? So they're
They're
just gonna skim coat us along?
I don't think they technically know yet either. They're just monies so far, right? That has to be
Well,
decided.
everything said resurfacing, but the encouraging part is that they were there last week, and they were already looking at the road because they have to raise the part up by like where the beer distributor is, you know, how it floods very badly there. They were there looking, they said they were gonna rebuild it and redo it there,
If
so.
they just do it there, that would be great, because that's awful.
It
when
is,
it rains.
so, but I
It's
thought that was
awful.
encouraging that they were looking at that already and that they were trying to find a solution and not just coming through and paving over what's there.
All right, okay, just keeping an eye on it, thank you.
Sue, you can always ask Harkham on Saturday when you come.
I'm busy.
You can run down and talk. And we are, at Lake Carmel, we are accepting lifeguard applications. If anyone's interested, to contact our Lake Carmel Park District clerk. Any other? Yes?
I know Councilman Ruthven's going to be upset that I'm not getting up, but I have a very, very quick question. How did the announcement pass? First of all, thank you, but do we have any idea when that process will begin, when you'll be looking at the testing?
So unfortunately, they were gonna go out right after the board meeting.
Oh, okay.
So I'm anticipating this week, and if not this week, next week. So I don't have a firm date yet. I had to wait till it was approved to, you know, to have them definitely come out, so. But I'll push for this week.
Just so if anybody didn't hear it from home, Mr. Ulick asked when Adelaide would be at the Lake Carmel Community Center, correct, for the asbestos abatement? Okay, that's just, because I'm sure they didn't hear you. Testing, correct.
Okay. I make a motion that we adjourn to executive session for litigation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.